So excited to have you here today. I've got the EVP and CPO of SunTrust Bank, Lamar Chesney. Lamar, welcome.
It's great to be here. Absolutely, my pleasure.
So Lamar, you have one of the most interesting backgrounds and the number of industries you've touched. Can you share that with us?
Oh my gosh. I've been in almost a dozen companies in 8 industries in either a principal financial or a principal procurement position over 4 decades. They range all the way from transportation to consumer products, manufacturing, financial services, healthcare.
And you've been a
I've been in the witness protection program for a long time.
I won't give it away.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't talk about your other life then. A CFO as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, CFO, now a CPO.
Uh-huh.
You don't see that translation very often, and yet that is a skill set that's phenomenal to take to the office of CPO.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me how that's made your whole life and job and career better?
There is a correlation, and I do think it should be a natural migration, because CFOs and CPOs have sort of the same charge, and that is value creation. And CFOs actually are anointed by doing that. And I think our profession, the procurement profession, needs to be more conscious of value creation and not just cost saves or risk mitigation and the like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it helped.
I think it's amazing because the office of CFO is the hardest one for most CPOs to really get the attention of. Mm-hmm. So what kind of recommendations, since you've been on both sides, what could the procurement conversation be, and how could we make it better so the CFOs would pay more attention?
Wow. One of the most difficult questions I had when I was a CFO by the CEO was, how are we doing? And I sat there a moment and I said, gosh, does he mean prior year or against budget or against the competitors or against forecast? And what he actually meant was, you know our competition, you know our strengths, you know our weaknesses, you knew where we want to be from a strategic point of view. How are we doing? So you aggregate all that and I say we're a 6 on a 10 scale. And the reason we're not a 10 on a 10 scale from my perspective is X, Y, and Z. If a CPO or anybody in procurement professional wants to achieve a dialogue on strategy with the business, they first have to talk strategy. The biggest problem, I think, in our profession is that we limit how others see us. We actually talk about, let me take your business strategy and let me convert it to a sourcing strategy, as opposed to sitting and talking about the business strategy. When I was a CFO, I can assure you, when I had a seat at the table, I did not sit there and act as though, as a CFO, I was there to finance the business strategy. I was there to be a part of the business strategy development, and then afterwards I would finance it.
That makes sense? But most procurement people aren't speaking CFO speak.
That doesn't mean they can't.
But can it be taught? I mean, I'm a CPA, so I get that side somewhat, but I don't think a lot of CPOs have that conversation.
Well, let's see. The good ones can. If you go from unit cost to landed cost to total cost of ownership, you can start that migration of understanding value chain. Now, granted, a lot of CPOs don't grow up understanding EVA and things like that, but I think you can be taught. If you put your head down and understand you're there about value creation and talk to the business and put it in economic terms and do what you do best, and that is to convert events into patterns and trends that create value. But yeah, you can do that. Should be able to do that.
We need a class for CPOs that can do that. That would be great. Maybe you can teach it next time you're here.
I don't know if I can teach it, but I'd love to be there.
Yeah, good. So you're in a regulated, highly regulated environment.
Uh-huh.
So tell me, how is that changing the way you view procurement and some of your mission with your organization?
Well, I've been in the energy business, and that was regulated, and I've been in, I was at Delta, and that's pseudo-regulated. So a regulated environment adds a layer of complexity in the supply chain arena, and that is because the rules and the regulations keep changing. It's hard enough for us as managers to manage policies and practices and people, when rules were changing. Imagine trying to do that with a diverse supply base where your influence is a lot different. So that's the level that I see is happening and will continue to happen in the financial services arena.
Do you expect regulations to lighten up some or only get worse?
It's all relative. Right now it's pretty tight,
Yeah.
but I sense that we will soften a little bit. More clarity will come. Calmness will come. The crisis created urgency, and from that urgency there was movement. There may not have been total progress, but there was movement, and I see it lightening up a little bit.
So everywhere I go, you've made friends, and I mean,
That's
people.
just because I'm old.
You have made friends in every organization you've ever been in, and you've made people that champion you as a phenomenal leader. And then I heard you speak, and you really moved me with how you move your team, and you got going on the conversation about Blue Ocean strategies and
Right.
all of that, and you were phenomenal to me, and I actually took away lessons I went back and used with my own team. So how do you keep yourself motivated to be that kind of leader?
Whew. I'm going to tell you a secret, and that secret is several years ago, and I'm an INTJ on a Myers-Briggs, and so I do a lot of self-reflection. I wanted to think about what my legacy would be. It's not a good topic for a lot of people, but I wanted to have direction in my life. And I spent a lot of time, a couple of weeks, thinking about it, and I concluded, and in so doing that, it actually changed me. It changed how I engaged with people, how genuineness came across, how I care about them, about my behavior and my interactions, the way I thought. And what actually came out of that is I decided I wanted to be remembered as that person who makes me think. And therefore you do a lot more asking than telling, because when you do that, people get much more deeper and richer, and their insights are much better than yours to begin with. So I think part of the secret that I have found in my own life about leadership is being able to touch someone. And the only way to do that is to care about them. And then if you make them think, they care more about themselves, and everybody's good. And
you do. You come across, you're so genuine, and like I said, you have such a reputation. It's incredible. So something you should be proud of.
Well, it took a long time.
Well, we all have a journey to go on, so
we do.
Yeah, so I can embark on that as well.
We do.
So tell me, since the recession, what changes did you have to make in your organization to protect it, to protect SunTrust, to make sure that you guys weren't going to be affected?
Wow. Well, SunTrust supply chain's only 3.5 years old. I came to build it. It was a pocket purchase organization at the time, dispersed, not much spend coverage and the like. So I had a 4S model, strategy, structure, skills, and systems, and you come in and you develop it that way. And I put a lot of builders in. I brought the people I knew. I brought builders. And the way you keep an organization that has a large group of builders motivated is that you give them right kinds of challenge, you give them recognition and reward, and you give them a sense of worth and a sense of identity. I say they need to have unity without uniformity. So you got diversity, but they have a common goal. So what I have done is I've kept them charged, and my job is to not have it all done at one time. And crises cause concerns for CPOs and that, because everybody wants to react.
Right, right.
And it's okay to react. I have a saying, never confuse movement with progress. Okay, so you've got to be able to manage crises. And my job was to manage crises.
But you came in at the height of the recession, or at the beginning of the recession, really.
I probably caused it. Okay.
Now we know who to blame.
I was at Coca-Cola when they had Diet Coke debacle, or the new Coke debacle.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I was at Delta when 9/11 happened, so I'm probably a carrier.
Oh, okay. Where are you going next? I'll make sure to sell my stock.
No.
So, but you did come in at the beginning of the recession.
I did.
So, without an organization in place, did that give you the opportunity? Was the recession the reason you were able to move so quickly into success?
That's great. That's good. Every crisis creates an opportunity. And every CPO should know this now. This crisis has caused, you're important. Now, I mean, they may not know why you're important, but they recognize you add some kind of value to us. So it created a dialogue, the framework. I think it accelerated what we did.
Did that give the permission or the mandate from the senior executives? Was it supported across the board? Did they say you must now use this new organization? Or did you still have to convince everybody to, if we build it, you will come?
No. I've done this rodeo before, so it took 4 months before they could convince me to get out of retirement to come in.
You were retired before you went back to...
I've retired 3 times.
Oh, well, obviously that's not a good idea, so just quit retiring.
Right. So anyway, so it took them 4 months, and part of the condition was, see, I don't think they knew what it looked like, and I did. So my condition was, you got to have expressed authority and you got to have implied authority. It's none of this, you know, you're an SVP stuff. You know, I'm an EVP. The position demands the expressed authority. Second thing is, they had a management committee, and there was like 12 the C-suite officers. Met with them 3 or 4 times each. And I wanted to make sure that they understood that their sponsorship and endorsement was what's going to change the culture. It wasn't me putting in policies and practices and protocols and things of that nature. And they've fulfilled that.
Amazing. So I know you've got a busy schedule, and I know you've got to catch a flight, so I just want to thank you for joining me today. Like I said, I'm
This
a big
conference has been an 11 on a 10 scale.
Oh, thank you. And it would have been a 12 if you were on there on the speaking agenda. So I need to get you on the agenda. Thank you for your time, Lamar.
Thank you.
And folks, thank you for joining us today. I'm Dawn Evans, and I'll see you next time.